You know, when an AI seems to follow a long, complicated story, it feels like it must have a perfect memory, right? Well, the truth is actually way more interesting. We're about to pull back the curtain on a really clever trick that lets AI overcome a surprisingly bad memory. A simple idea that totally changed the game.
I mean, it's a totally natural assumption to make. We think of AI as having this flawless photographic memory, that as it's reading a sentence, it's just perfectly storing every single word from start to finish. But that's just not how it works at all.
The reality, and this is kind of shocking, is that a standard AI model has a terrible memory. Seriously, think goldfish. By the time it gets to, say, the 10th word in a sentence, the first few words are already just gone. They've faded into this blurry, useless fog.
Now, for short little phrases, this isn't a huge deal. But, the second you ask an AI to actually reason across a whole paragraph or to get the context in a big document, that goldfish memory just completely fails. The whole system breaks down.
So, how in the world did researchers fix this? Well, they came up with a solution that is just so beautiful and so elegant. It's an idea we're going to call the researcher spotlight, and honestly, it's the key to understanding this whole thing. So, what is this spotlight? It's actually pretty simple. It's just a mechanism that lets the AI look back at the text it's already read. It's a way for it to remind itself of the important bits, the stuff that would otherwise get totally lost in that memory fog we were talking about. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you are a researcher, you're in a gigantic, pitch black library, and all you have is one tiny flashlight. You're definitely not trying to memorize every book on every shelf, right? No way. Instead, as you're reading something new, you keep your flashlight, your spotlight, aimed at the most important page you read earlier. You're just keeping the most crucial reminders in view.
Okay, so that's the big idea. Let's actually see how this works in the real world. We're going to use a super simple logic puzzle to watch the spotlight do its thing.
All right, let's walk through this. Step 1, the premise. A man in a chef's hat is kneading dough. Got it. Step 2, the hypothesis. Someone is making bread. Okay, now as the AI reads that word making, its goldfish memory is already kicking in, and kneading dough starts to fade. But right then, bam, the spotlight kicks on. It shines a bright light all the way back to the words kneading dough. And just like that, the AI can see kneading dough and making at the exact same moment. It connects the dots and correctly decides, yep, the hypothesis is true.
See, before the spotlight, the AI is basically lost. It sees two totally separate, disconnected ideas. It processes kneading dough, then later it sees making bread, but in its foggy memory, there's just no clear connection between them.
But with the spotlight, oh, it's a night and day difference. It's like this glowing golden bridge suddenly appears, linking the word making directly back to kneading dough. The connection becomes obvious, explicit, totally impossible to miss. Now, I know this can feel a little bit like magic, right? Like the AI just somehow knows what's important. But it's so important that we clear this up. This isn't magic. It's just math. This really gets to the heart of it. What we think is happening is that the AI has some kind of gut feeling, that it truly understands the story. But what's actually going on is a pure mathematical calculation. Just think of every word as having coordinates on a giant map. The AI isn't understanding meaning, it's just measuring the distance between the map coordinates for making and every other word it's seen to find the closest match. That's it. So here's the absolute key point. It's not a human-like focus. It's a reminder system built entirely on math. If the numbers for two words are similar, the spotlight shines brighter. It's that mechanical. Okay, so let's just pause for a second and think about this. Say an AI is reading a monster 50-page legal contract. Do you think it would be better for it to have one giant spotlight that lights up a whole previous section? Or would it be better to have hundreds of tiny little spotlights, each one highlighting a very specific relevant word or clause? All right, so now that we've got the core idea down with our spotlight analogy, it's time to give this amazing solution its proper technical name. In the world of AI research, our spotlight is officially called the attention mechanism, and it works using something called a context vector. The easiest way to think of this vector is as the flashlight's beam. It's a big bundle of numbers that basically represents the current topic, and it uses that to figure out how brightly to shine the light on everything that came before. What this creates is something the researchers call a soft alignment. All that really means is that the attention mechanism doesn't just pick one single connection. It creates this whole web of connections, some strong, some weak.
It finds and amplifies the most important pairings in a document while letting all the useless, irrelevant noise just fade away.
So let's bring this all home. What are the big ideas you should walk away with? And more importantly, why does any of this matter when you're actually using these AI tools?
Okay, 3 key takeaways. First, remember that an AI's memory by itself is super hazy. It loses context really, really fast. Second, the attention mechanism is that spotlight, constantly looking back and highlighting relevant words to help make sense of what it's reading right now. And third, and this is crucial, that focus is all math. It's a similarity check, not some kind of conscious choice.
Now, here is a question that after all this, you can absolutely answer. Why can a tool like ChatGPT follow a really long and winding conversation when older chatbots from just a few years ago would forget what you said almost instantly? And the answer, of course, is the attention mechanism. These new models are constantly using that spotlight to look back and remind themselves of your earlier questions, your instructions, all of it. That's what lets them hold a coherent conversation. And that brings us to a really interesting question. We've seen how this spotlight helps an AI look back. But what if I told you this exact same mechanism is what unlocked the ability for AI to see words not as fixed dictionary definitions, but as fluid, shifting concepts that completely change their meaning depending on the words around them? Well, we're going to dig into that next time.